Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's podcast. We're on episode number 37 here, and we're back. We're back to discuss the ways in which the music licensing space is getting more difficult and more competitive, and what you can do about it. It's getting rough out there, folks. Lots of people competing for attention. The quality bar has gone up. It's gone up considerably.
Yeah.
But the good news is that there is a ton of content being produced every day. It's ridiculous. More content than ever before. So rest assured.
More content that needs music is what you're saying, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Rest assured that if you're creating quality music, then there is a place for your music. And that's the good news. So we're going to talk about that a little bit on this episode. But first of all, Eric, it's been a little bit. We've taken a slight break from the podcast because things are crazy.
Busy.
Yeah, things are busy. How's it been going with you, man? What's been going on this last week?
A lot, as usual. I mean, besides the fact that at 2 o'clock every day I have to take off and go teach and for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I've been trying to just keep the YouTube channel kind of flowing a little bit. I'm trying to do my best to experiment doing 3 videos a week. You know me, I like doing experiments.
That's a lot, man.
So I'm doing 3 video weeks to see how that grows the channel, increases revenue. Subscribers continue to roll in. I'm headed towards 3,500 now. And then that is just, the channel keeps doing well. It's the ebook has done well. I'm writing a new ebook on how I got into sync, and I'm doing lives every Friday. Lives are a really great way to make content because you don't have to make a lot of content. You just talk for an hour and then you're done. And my last live has almost 800 views.
That's great.
My live
that's
last Friday.
That's a good view count for just a regular video.
For a live, especially for an hour-long live video, it's pretty. I'm surprised, but I edit it up a little bit. But I like to mix it up, and I've thought about maybe all I do is lives, or maybe all I do is this or that. But I don't know.
When you say edit it up, do you mean you just chop out the beginning? Because I think that the YouTube editor lets you do that, right?
Yes, I will go in and I'll do a first few minutes where I'm talking to everybody and I'm checking the audio and making sure it's all working, and the picture's working good, and everything sounds good. Yeah. And I'll talk, and then I have a script. And then I'll wait until start the script at a certain point, and then I'll kind of just do, that type of thing. And then now it takes a day till you can do that because hour-long lives have to process over in YouTube.
That's right.
And so I can't really edit that till the next morning. But then I can edit that all out, and then when people start seeing that live, it looks like a regular video. It doesn't look like, do I get sound? Hello? Everybody here? Who's here? Who's in the chat? None of that garbage going on. And so it looks like a video to people who are just watching the video. So you can do other edits, but you can only do a few at a time or one at a time, and then you have to wait while it processes that edit to do another one. So I think YouTube could do a better job at making the editor more accessible so that you can go in and cut out stuff that you don't want from your lives and stuff like that. But anyway, it works fine. I have been doing a lot of meetings. I kind of turned clients back on this week. I'd had clients off, and I was working on a lot of music of my own last week. I've had a lot accepted to Motion Array, about 5 accepted to Motion Array this month. I still don't think I'm going to get to level 4, but I'm hoping for a bonus because I put 4 songs into one of their song calls, and so I'm hoping that one of those 4 might earn a bonus.
Which one was that? That was
that was the Calypso one.
Yeah. I was just looking at that this morning.
And so anyway, and as we may or may not have talked about, I don't even know if we talked about it, because what I talked about on my live is the fact that you can continue to put stuff up there to those, even after they close. They're not closed.
That's right. Yeah.
And so that's how I got those in. Deposit Photos has mostly fulfilled their promise. I don't know if we talked about this even last time, but they had approached me to put all my songs in for me. In other words, all the songs I had uploaded, but I didn't have time to put all their descriptions in. It's just because it never made me any money. They contacted me and said, can we put all the songs you have on Pond 5 in there? And I said, sure. They said, you upload them, we will tag them. Now I don't know if they're watching this, but they're not tagging them great. But still, that's not my problem. And for all it's brought me or all it might bring me, I don't know. I also noticed something about Motion Array today, but we'll talk about that maybe when we get into Flock libraries here. I'm like I said, okay, so I already talked about the YouTube channel. Yeah, I love lives. As far as the music is concerned, I've signed the country contract with my exclusive library and determining what's next with that library. I'm looking for some new libraries. I hope to find some new non-exclusive libraries, like Crucial Music and places like that.
Totally.
And I'm pitching a lot of albums right now to different libraries, but I'm going to talk non-exclusive versus exclusive live tomorrow on the channel and want to straighten out my thoughts there. People are like, you sound like you're kind of down on exclusive libraries. We can talk about that a little today. I'm not. It's just, I think that I'd like to have a big non-exclusive catalog that I could do anything I want with. I could put anywhere, even on Motion Array. Like this week when I had those songs that worked in the Calypso, I want to be able to put them on Motion Array. They could make me money right away.
For sure.
So I've actually pulled them out of my exclusive library and put them, and now they're non-exclusive, so anybody can use them. And I've already pitched them to a library out in California that likes to have my music on file, and so. I just think, especially my personal music, stuff that I might release to Spotify or my jazz or my piano, I want to keep all that non-exclusive. But I still think there's a place for exclusive. But we'll talk about that as we go on here.
Sweet.
That's what I've been up to. Not really making a lot of music necessarily, as much as I'd like, just because I'm doing all these other things. But there's.
It's always tough.
So many hours.
You know, we both get down when we're not writing as much music as we'd like to be.
We're finishing it up. You know, a lot of times we've written stuff already, but there's no time to finalize it,
to wrap it up. Oh man, totally. Well, I've been in the midst of just like, I don't know, I'm going out of town like every weekend recently, so I only have like 3 or 4 days in the week to get everything I need to get done. I usually work a little bit on weekends, like usually Sunday is my Monday, right? So, and I take Saturdays off.
Because you're in Canada, right? Sunday's like Monday.
It's not. I don't know if it's a Canadian thing, but it's Sunday. I should take Sundays off. That's the sabbatical, right? But for some reason, I like to just get started on Sunday. But it's usually with the stuff that's fun. Like I try not to stress myself on Sunday. I like work, so I don't really think of it as that stressful. But yeah, I got wedding gigs going on right now. I got one I got to go play this weekend out about 6 hours away from here. So we're leaving to do that trip first thing tomorrow morning. I got to run a bunch of tunes today. I'm running way behind. We have rehearsal tonight, and I'm not prepared for it. Then a festival the next weekend afterwards, so another long trip. Everywhere's a long trip here in Canada, by the way. You know, it's like it's not like the States where you can drive three hours and get to the next city. It's like 6 hour drives minimum. I think the festival is like a 10-hour drive. So yeah, other than that, I got 3 songs in the queue for Motion Array, which I'm stoked about. They're all really good. Like I worked real hard on all of them, and my strategy right now is to kind of try to get them approved for the beginning of the month. But the queue seems to be moving faster, so I think I may have jumped the gun actually. Like I gave it 2 weeks in advance.
When it says 2,400, like you're 2,400 in the queue, it seems like they actually matriculate in about 1,200. In other words, you don't have to wait all the way down to 1.
No, I know, and it's like it's coming close to 1,200 now, and I think that like it's about like it moves at about 100 a day or so. I think maybe a bit more. So they might get approved before September, which would be, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not gonna like take them out and resubmit them, but. Anyway, I got 3 in the queue. That's a lot for me to have 3 in the queue. So I'm stoked for that. I had a really good payout from them last month, as we chatted about, and I bought myself a little present. I bought a new desk, which I can't really show you right now, but it's one of these desks that you can press a button and it goes up, so I can stand up for a while. I really am all about not sitting down.
You could stand up and play guitar and record.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I don't like just sitting down for like extended periods of time. I just get restless. So
now, how is this month on Motion Array? Same or just? Or
no, it's not quite as good. It's like I'm at level 6, but it's not nearly as good as last month. Last month was like
level
insane.
6 means you're doing okay. I'm not
Yes.
even likely going to get to level 4. I don't think this month. So
Yeah, I can't complain. That's for sure. It's not bad. I think it's leftovers from last month. But something I was going to say before I forget, it's just me, or are we seeing less Motion Array originals?
yeah, oh, that's been that way for a while.
Yeah.
They almost completely disappeared for a while. Maybe they took our videos.
I wonder what's up with that.
They listened to that. I don't see them as much especially in the suggested ones that they suggest. I don't see
Right?
the originals there anymore, and so maybe they got a lot of feedback that was. I always felt it was a little self-serving for them to put their own songs and suggest their own songs up front, and so it seems like that has. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah.
I have no idea where they've gone, if they are still there, I still see them now,
Yeah.
but not as many for sure.
It's a curious
And-
thing. Yeah, and I can't help but think that it's good for the authors, who need the money. So,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Also, they sent out an email, was it yesterday, about they were changing something about their descriptions and things like that. But as it comes, I think that after an email today, it's only for graphics and videos.
I saw
and things
that
like
email. Yeah, that looks like they're
I'm thinking
making
about-
a few changes about the graphic stuff. But
And that's the other thing we don't think about with Motion Array enough,
yeah,
is the fact that, same with Deposit Photos, same with a lot of these Envato Elements, I bet music is not in the top 3 of what people go there for. In other words, I think
it's
they're
in the
going
top
there
3.
more.
but you can tell because it's
That's right. It's about second, right?
it's second. I think it's the graphic stuff. It's like the
Do they show that
the Premiere
information
Pro
anymore? Like
templates
the percentage of? I don't think they show the percentages anymore. Do
I
they?
don't think
Like
they show the
used to?
percentages, or maybe they do in that little it's like a circle graph now. I'd have to go check it out. But,
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
I think it's number 2. I could be wrong, but I think it's number 2 because I think the graphics, the animation and graphic stuff is huge. It's really really popular. But
Yeah.
I'd have to check in on that again. Other news. I finally finished these tracks I've been working on for Artlist. Like these like folk tracks we're working on have taken me so much time to finish. Like I just really went to town on these, and they were difficult, man. They were difficult to get the mix right. I don't know why.
Yeah, these are what, Artlist, or these are your
Artlist Originals project. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like my latest brief with them. Just like basically like really high energy folk, with vocals, which added an extra dimension of kind of like difficulty within it. So, really struggled with those mixes, but I put a lot of time into them. I just sent them the 3rd round of revisions, so we'll see what they say about that. I got 2 interviews in the queue for YouTube, one with Dave Kropf and another with one of the members of the Academy who finally got into Motion Array after three
awesome.
tries.
Alex.
Yeah, Alex.
Fantastic.
I can't wait to put that out there. He's such an awesome dude. We had such a great
Yeah.
chat. Really, really inspiring conversation. I think people are really going to enjoy that. What else new? August is hip hop month, so I'm starting to receive submissions from the Academy members for the challenge, and they're as always just sounding so awesome. Like amazing what people are coming up with. I actually had time to do a private live composing stream yesterday, where I wrote a hip hop track in about 2.5 hours or so. Had some technical difficulties. OBS stopped working on me midstream, so it was a bit janky. But I finally, I got it done, and it was fun. I think that's it for me pretty much. As soon as we wrap up this podcast, I got to get to running these tunes, and that's going to take me forever. We have a bunch of requests from the bride and groom, and I gotta figure all that out. So it's a long day ahead of me.
As a Motion Array update, I'm looking at the top marketplace downloads. You're right. Actually, music is the highest one at 20%.
Oh, is it the highest? Okay. I wonder if it was always like that.
It's only 20%. That means 80% of what people are going for there is not music. That's the point I was trying to make. Is that we think that Motion Array is a place where everybody goes for music.
Yeah.
Well, only 20% of the people are downloading music there. 80% are downloading Premiere Pro templates, stock video, After Effects templates.
Stock video, that's right. Yeah.
Stock motion graphics, sound effects. all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say sound effects is something you got to factor in there because it's kind of in the music sound category.
We need to realize that we think of this only in terms of how much money can we make there with our music. But that's only a small percentage of each of these sites. I don't know if Pond5 does other things other than music. So I'd love to know what their breakdown is.
Yeah, I would imagine it's similar. I mean, I know so many videographers who source auxiliary footage from Pond5. I think it's big for footage.
Yeah. Same with photographers and all that in Envato. And I know I only use Envato for photos and for video,
right?
Stock video. So as a user, so yeah, something interesting to think about. In the stock world, we think, oh, why aren't we getting more sales? Well, maybe because only 20% of the people are going there for music that are going to that site. So out of that 20%, then you have to be in the top percentage of the 20%, which is a very small percentage, really.
It is small, yeah.
So how do you want to start this? What's our
Well, let's talk about the ways in which license space is getting harder. I don't want this to be a cynical conversation. But it is the truth.
And it might be kind of like you may take one position on this and I might take another, because I'm not sure that I agree that it's really getting any harder.
Okay,
except
well, that's
for
great.
stock. So let's you go ahead and start. How do you see it on, where do you want to start? Exclusive, non-exclusive?
Well, let's just I think we've covered this, so we don't really have to talk about this that much. But I think that the first aspect of this conversation would have to be that the quality standard has gone up.
Yes,
and we have to talk about like why that is, because it is interesting. And I think the way I see it is because it's I think probably the primary reason is the development of like sample libraries, like really sophisticated sample libraries. And samples like like Splice, companies like that, where it's become, I think, overall much more accessible to create like really high quality music. So like, I think it's we don't need access to like fancy studios or like big like expensive microphones and like good quality recording environments and stuff. Like everything has become much more accessible. So that being the case, it's quite easy to create something that sounds decent.
Yep.
So would you agree with that? I think that's probably the reason why we're in the world that we live in.
I would. The downside of that is that people are using stuff, and I had a student come up to me the other day and he said, I can't believe it. I tried to put something that I wrote up on SoundCloud, and SoundCloud told me that I was using music that belonged to someone else.
Oh, crazy.
And so they showed me who it was, and they went to listen.
Yeah.
And it's because both bozos had pulled the same loop over in Logic and basically used the whole loop as almost their whole song. And the guy who he quote unquote ripped it off from was just the first one to upload it to the SoundCloud. And so I think the level, and I just got off a conversation with a longtime client who was showing me stuff that he's made with things like Easy Keys and Easy Drummer.
Yeah.
I use Easy Drummer, but one thing I never use in Easy Drummer is the patterns. I play Easy Drummer sounds. I use it as a sound source only. But he was using patterns that it has with it to make drum patterns, and same thing with the keys, using that as a patterns for the keys. And I think those things can sound kind of crummy. They can sound kind of fakey, and we're in a hard enough time with AI becoming a threatening thing, that if your stuff sounds at all robotic, it all sounds like it was made by a machine, it all sounds like, or you're only using samples that anybody else can use, then the quality is not very creative, and it's not new. And you think about Motion Array or Pond5 or whoever, especially those Motion Array and people in Artlist who really curate very much harder than some other places. They probably hear these same things all the time, and they're like, another one of those. There's that sample again. Or there's that loop again.
That could not be more true, man. I mean, and that was the case when I worked at the label, like, at the electronic label, because that's where I started to hear all these samples. This is something I mentioned in that video I did on YouTube, my last video about using samples in your work. I started to notice that the submissions that we were getting were all using the same samples. I'm like, holy holy cow, like everyone is using Splice and everyone's using these same samples. And,
Yeah.
you know, and the head
That's
of
why I
the
don't use any of them anymore. I just don't use them anymore.
the head of the label would, you know, would catch some samples that I, you know, and I was like, really, I never heard that one before. He knew everything, like, you know, because he's a producer too, so he knew all of them. He's just like, yeah, like I know where that came from, and I was like, man, everyone is using this stuff. Yeah, I mean, we are really obliged to, like, you know, use these samples creatively and not, and this is the situation, man. A lot of people using them.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is, like, and something to discuss is the sheer amount, the volume of people creating music. I think it's because, and this is tied into the accessibility factor as well, as the fact that it's so easy to make music now. Is you got so many people doing it. To me, this isn't really that problematic because I still think that there's this, you know, this extra percentage, you know, of where you need to be in order to kind of cut through the mold. And once you're at that level, I think you're going to get people's attention, despite the fact that there's this feeling of like mega saturation, and I think that everyone in the stock music space feels that. I mean, there's just so many submissions.
I think there's definitely two places that you can blame for that.
Yeah.
COVID would be one. COVID, where everybody was in, live gigs dried up. You probably may not have gotten into stock as much as you did because of if COVID had not come along and shut down live stuff, because you were busy live. You're busy live now. You're getting busy live again now.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
And so that you had to find another income source. You had to make Artlist, and if Artlist hadn't worked, if Motion Array hadn't worked for you, you'd be in a world of hurt, or at least more hurt right now. You know, I mean, you've also got clients, and so all of that kind of goes together. But I think that COVID is one. The second one is all these, I've used this word before, but I'm going to use it again, goofballs who have these YouTube channels who tell everybody, you can make stock music, you can make music income, you can produce music. Just watch our music production videos and our music videos and the Daniels and the Jessies, and they encourage more and more people to join the rat race and join and saturate the market. And there are people who will ask them, isn't the market getting saturated? And we say, nah, it's not getting saturated because there's so many shows that need music. And so everybody continues to jump in with all kinds of levels of quality, from terrible to great, and it has made it tougher for the libraries to keep up, and probably it's changed what Audio Jungle is. Audio Jungle didn't close until 2021, so they closed after maybe a deluge from 2020. Remember how long that queue was for a while with Audio Jungle?
It was a month or something. I mean, it's so crazy.
Two?
It's actually comical thinking about it, and I really I hate to say it, but I don't think they're ever going to open back up.
Nah, they're not. I don't think so. I mean, I don't even think they're getting as many sales anymore there, and they're concentrating on Elements. It doesn't make any sense. I think Pond 5 will eventually start to go that way. I'm starting to see more, well, not more, but I'm starting to see more, if not daily, at least weekly subscription money. And now they list your subscriptions money underneath how much you've made for that month. And even though I haven't made that much, it's like $3 and something. And it's showing you in real time what your subscriptions. And I think over time, that's going to become a subscription service in some ways.
Well, I think so. I strangely had a bunch of Pond 5 sales recently, but going back to the original thing, it's like, yes, we're all aware of the saturation issue. I think that it applies to more than just the music, licensing industry. We got 8 billion people in the world here. A lot of people doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. If you're writing, original, if you have great ideas, great music, great ideas, man, they find their way. They find their way through the mess to the top. That's always been my philosophy. I've never been stressed about the oversaturation aspect. Of
good stuff still gets through.
This good stuff still gets through, man, for sure. But
Some
you
people,
are right
I've
in
heard
saying
that
that
some people make even 1,000 to 2,000 a month with stock music. I've heard that.
It's a rumor.
And
the
some
rumors
people
may be
make
true.
200 or 300 a month, or if that, you know. So I think that it just depends on. And now I approach it completely differently than you do, and so do I, and I have other people approach it differently than us. But yeah, it's still about quality, and quality gets through every time in all of these things that we're going to talk about. I don't care if it's Spotify. I don't care if it's live music.
Totally.
Quality always finds its way
Totally.
through the mess. So.
Yeah, well, like, and I think you made an important point there in saying that libraries are having a tough time keeping up with the amount of submissions that they get. I mean, that's kind of the problem, right? I mean, it's like they have to listen to submissions at whatever quality level that they get. I mean, so I think that maybe actually, yeah, I mean, in terms of the exclusive side of things, like the smaller, more like niche production TV libraries and kind of things. I mean, they're running on like a very small, usually have very small staffs. Library could be run by 1 or 2 people in some cases. They're probably looking at a mountain of submissions, and how did they get through them? And I think that probably likely in a lot of cases they get recommendations to check out some people's work, because you cannot keep up with the amount of submissions that are happening.
I think exclusive really hasn't changed as much. I think that probably had like exclusive libraries for TV and film, sync stuff. I think that's always been hard and always been long and always involved a bit of luck getting your email through and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
I think that's always a long process. This is where I don't think it's gotten harder on that end. I think it's if you're trying to, I don't care if you're not using libraries, if you're trying to just approach music supervisors and all that kind of stuff, that might be harder than it ever was, but it probably was never super easy. It's never been super easy to get a music publishing contract if you have mediocre music or even if you have good music. You have to have, I think we talked about this in one of our last episodes, you have to have really, really good quality recordings, and not many people have that. And great songs, and a lot of them. And you have to continue to find new libraries to pitch to. But I think exclusive, I'm seeing that I'm in the strange spot in that there's a few other people. I talked to Stephen Talamy on a recent video that just released yesterday, and he's in the same spot. He's in a few libraries, but waiting for stuff to really get used to the point where he sees back end. And I am too. I've had some uses. I see some TuneSat things. I see some shows using stuff. And that's only going to increase as this country album hits and more albums hit. I've got to get more in there, especially to the libraries that are working the songs pretty hard, or the companies that are. But I think exclusive, I'm not sure that's really changed through all this. I think there might be more people trying it, maybe. But eventually those people will quit, because they won't have luck and they'll move on. I know some people who've done that with stock. They put 5 songs up to Pond 5 and go, oh, nothing's happening, so I guess I'm going to quit now. We see those all the time.
We see it all the time.
On
That's
our
true.
Discord.
Well, here's an interesting thought. There's a little story. So you let me know what you think about this.
Just going to have a cup of tea and drink while you tell the story.
Let me tell you a little story. Short story. So I was contacted directly by a music supervisor just last week, and this gentleman said that he had discovered my music on Artlist, and he wanted some extra publishing information because he wanted to use this track for a television show for the Hallmark channel in the States. So those of you who are not in the States, I don't know how much Hallmark gets broadcast throughout the world, but it's like, how would you describe Hallmark? It's kind of like a family,
kind of romantic
PG,
movies, PG family movies.
Yeah,
TV,
but they get a ton of reruns. They're played constantly throughout the holidays. I think that they're a good source of
I think they have channels on YouTube too that you can go and watch. Hallmark has its own YouTube channel that plays a lot of its movies through the holidays and stuff. So
yeah, probably, yeah. So anyway, this music supervisor got in touch with me. He asked me, he wanted to sync the track, and I mean, I won't go into all the details, but the interesting thing about the experience was that I got to thinking, it's like, you know, it was a confirmation of something that I already knew to be true, which is that the royalty-free market is starting to make significant inroads into the TV and sync business. That's not a surprise considering the level of curation that's going on at Artlist. It's just so good, and so many people know about it at this point. It's really dominating the space so much so that you know, music supervisors are going to it to look for music to sync to television. And the question is really is how does the future of that, how does the future of like the exclusive TV and sync production library business look when you have these, like, you know, massive force to be reckoned with libraries like Artlist that are kind of encroaching in on that space? That's sort of something to ponder. And I wonder if there is a concern on the part of some of these, you know, smaller boutique libraries that they're getting, you know, they have more competition on the horizon.
Getting beaten by the mid-tiers.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that they're going away. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's like some of these exclusive, like, say, for example, the one that Dave works for, they have long-standing contracts with, like, you know, CBS or whatever, the sports channels and stuff. And like I said, there's so much content. Artlist can't serve everybody. They can't do everything. Right. But I still think that, you know, it must be kind of, a little bit scary for some of these exclusive TV production libraries to see that happening. And I wonder if it's kind of affecting their bottom line because, you know, I mean, the deal that you're getting with Artlist is that it's just like there's it's like a no hassle use. It's like, here, take it. No like restrictions on the license or nothing. Just go for it, you know? So
put it on Spotify if you want.
Yeah.
That, right?
Yeah. So that's something I was
well,
really
that's
wondering.
Kind of getting back to what I was saying at the beginning and earlier in my thing. That's why I would prefer to have more non-exclusive type uses like that, where I know it's not a perpetuity deal. Mm-hmm. I'm not like also freaked out about perpetuity. Like, I have a lot of things in my BMG library that are in perpetuity. It doesn't freak me out to think, oh, I'll never get to use this song again. And I have other libraries where I have stuff that's not perpetuity. It's, you know, I get them back in a few years or whatever if I want them. But I also see that, you know, there's way more people playing the game trying to get to music supervisors, trying to get to sync agents and things like that. I don't do that game. You and I don't do that just because we don't have time to do all that amount of networking. We barely have enough time to feed the libraries that we are associated with now and teach and do things like that. Mm-hmm. But this is why I think that, and I don't want to discourage people from licensing, you know, at all with this video. But I think this is why I do a channel called Make Music Income, not Make Music Licensing, because I think you've got to focus on, I think only focusing on licensing may become unwise in the future, especially if you're in it for years and you're not seeing that much success. I think sitting in that for 5 years may, without trying other things like maximizing your Spotify channel, maximizing your live potential, music potential, producing other artists and working for clients, teaching, having channels, and all the other ways that you could make music income. Sheet music, I did a video about that recently. All these things, if you can do them, you should be doing them. There's a video coming up about, if I release a song, here are all the things I want to do with that song. And it's not just about putting it in Motion Array. I mean, that's one of the things, but it goes to a lot of places, hopefully, that can make music income. And I think I'm not sure. You might be right about stock music getting harder. I'm not sure exclusive is any harder than it's always been. You still have to, like you said, either get in or somebody get you in or suggest you get in. And then there's that whole process, though, of waiting till you make any money on that and or getting lucky enough for a music supervisor to call you. Did you say if you're going to do it or not? Or?
Yeah, it's getting synced.
Awesome. Yeah. Congrats.
Thanks. I think that what you're saying is that the licensing space is or the strategy of music licensing is one that requires it requires a ton of patience, and it's a long game. So I think that in in light of that, it's really important to sort of have other things going on while you're working on that long-term strategy, you know, whether it be for back-end royalties, which, you know, just take a long time to accumulate, as we all know.
But you and I are perfect examples of this particular thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
We both are working on multiple incomes while we do licensing.
Right.
And it's fun to report about licensing on our channels because that's what a lot of people want to know about, because maybe that's the only thing part-time people who are in music are doing, is they're just doing stock because they have another job and that they just make some music and they're getting their feet wet or whatever, or they are full-time trailer makers or whatever, and they're doing that and they focus on that. But I think almost everybody else, including us, someone who has a lot of good income from the art list companies, and someone like me who has a modicum of success, but also have a lot of other big incomes in music. You know, that's why I'm just so. I whether it's getting harder or not, you better have other incomes.
Yeah.
And I just, of course, that's what I'm going to preach just because of my channel. But I don't think exclusive has changed other than continue to work it hard. I don't think stock, I do think stock has changed. I agree with you. I've watched just from my time in it. I've only been in stock for almost 2 years now, and I've seen it change crazy, you know, and you've been in it much longer than that, and you've seen a much bigger change, and it's just going to continue to change. It's never ending. That's one reason why we have channels, is to talk about the changes sometimes in those things. So
yeah, well, I think you're right. I mean, it's like you got to diversify, and we talk about that all the time. You got to figure out a way to make money that while you wait for music licensing to start working out for you. I mean, it's not like it happened overnight for me. It took, you know, a long time to get to where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I think above that, like, you know, just to wrap this up, I would say it's like, it's always quality over quantity. I mean, it's always, I'm going to say it again and again, you know, it's like, get out of that loop zone, get out of like leaning on those logic loops or the display stuff, you know, like find ways to get really inventive and creative with your samples, find ways to get an edge in terms of like the stuff that you're making, you know, whether that means doing something like, you know, using your own special talents, like maybe you're a great singer or something like that, like put it on those tracks, find a way to use your special advantage and put it on the tracks. And then something that you talk about all the time, which is collaborate with people, you know, get out there and find like a great singer to work with.
And that can be free sometimes just because the person wants to.
Totally.
So it doesn't have to be expensive, even though I will tend to spend money on players and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be.
Same here, yeah. And it doesn't have to be super expensive, no. Like I have someone who's a great singer here. She helps me with my vocal tracks. You know, I pay her usually like $200 to come in and like do a full day, not a full day, but like, you know, a solid recording session. Sometimes that's like, you know, 4 or 5 hours of just, you know, just getting some vocal tracks. Dude, $200 is nothing for that. I mean, and she just likes doing
especially
it.
If you're kind of paying her for work for hire, where she's not going to make any more money on this no matter what happens with the track, right? You're employing her as work for hire most times.
I cut it. It depends on the track. Depending on like how involved she is on the writing end. Usually she's not in.
Well, she's on the writing end.
She's on the writing end. Then there's you know, different deals that we structure in terms of like how we split the you know, the any kind of like future revenue from royalties and stuff like that. But no, generally it's work for hire, right? So like I have exactly what I need her to do, and she'll come in and she'll deliver it. No creativity required on her end. So yeah, it depends though. But we split deals, and we've actually split licensing money income before because I do
that with some of my clients too.
Yeah,
I would say as my last word on this, you've just got to do what we always talk about, and that is pump out the music. Quantity, you do need quantity, but they also have to be quality, because you've got to cut through all the noise and all the other people uploading to. You see how long it took one artist to get into one library, much less get songs accepted there. I mean, that's just the first battle, is to get accepted by a library, and then you've got to get songs in it, and then you've got to wait for money to be made from all of that. So it's a very, very long game.
Yeah.
It might be getting harder in the stock world because the stock is stocks are volatile. I'm not sure if you've heard that before, but it's a volatile business, and the stock market, so to speak, is not. That was a subtle call out to my ebook, which you can now get at makemusic.com. But the stock market is volatile, and so you have to have a lot going on there. You have to have quality that stands out, cuts through, gets accepted, and gets used, and gets you calls like you got this week. And that kind of thing can't happen if you don't put great stuff out there, and as much as you can. One of the biggest things I continue to get is people saying, well, I've got 5 songs. And now I will say that on other channels there are people saying that if you have 5 songs, that's all you need to start getting into sync and TV, just because you can send 5 songs to a music library and they'll say, oh, you're so talented, we want to sign you up. And they make that sound like you can start making lots of money with sync and TV placements with 5 songs. They don't mean that, but they mean, some of these things get warped. Some of the stuff about licensing gets warped. Stevie's making all this money, I've got to be able to make that much money. Or Eric's got accepted by these exclusive libraries, so I must be able to get accepted by them. So our video messages get warped. We're trying to give you experiences and tell you about stuff, not that it's super easy, so just do this and all this stuff will happen to you. Even if you do have tons of songs and tons of quality, you still may not have success. It is hard, but it's harder if you don't put much good quality music out.
Yeah, well, we certainly don't want to be on record here saying that it's easy. Nothing in the music business is easy. That's the reality, and we're here to motivate you to work harder. That's our plan, and we don't want to sugarcoat anything. But you work hard and you put the time in, and you will see results. And I'll do a little shameless plug of my own. If you do want to learn how to level up the quality of your music, please come check out the Production Music Academy.
You just had a breakthrough. You just posted a number. You want to announce that?
Oh yeah, I got more than 100 members in the academy. I think I got 106 now, which is amazing. Okay. I'm like,
I don't know
just blown
if you
away.
know, but I saw it. I thought I read it said 1,000.
Oh, I wish it was 1,000. I don't know if I'd be able to keep up with 1,000.
What kind of post was it? Was it on Instagram or was it? Check it, because I thought it
does
said
not say
1,000.
Oh my god!
Okay, I hope not.
It would be great, but I wouldn't be able to keep up with all the submissions. Can you imagine?
I thought that in my head. I thought, wow, how did he get up to 1,000 already? I just was in there the other day.
Where have you been? No, I can't imagine how long the live streams would be if I was showcasing all that music.
I love the fact that when you go into I'm part of your thing, but I love the fact that Dave is also part of it.
Yeah,
Daniel is also part of it. At least tangentially, we may not be in there like submitting things all the time. But there's more people than just Steve in there. There's me and other people who are on channels that you know. So
the whole crew's in there.
You need all the superstars. You need to get Clint in there.
I need to get Clint and Jesse in there, and then I got the whole crew.
Those two, you'd have all the crew. Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with a name for the thing. I've been trying to figure a way to get. Dave and I have been talking about a way to get us all together and have a big chat. Sometime
full
the council. Something like that. And just get us all in there talking.
Oh man,
we can get Jesse and Daniel. That'd be the hardest ones to get in there, but
yeah, totally.
Cool, man. Well, great talk. I hope this has been helpful to everybody. It's been fun to talk about.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys, and write your thoughts below. As always, I'd love to hear from you. Let us know if you think it's getting.
We'll mix it up on the premiere of this whenever. Are you going to premiere this? Or you think you'll have time? Maybe Monday?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I haven't done a premiere in a while.
We'll have a lot of good conversations. Kind of like doing a live where we can talk about that. So it's good to do.
I'm on the road coming back from the gig on Monday, but
anytime during the day, I think.
I think I could probably, hopefully, maybe I'll just I'll channel in on my iPhone on the ride back.
I'm hoping to release a video at 11 a.m. that day.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty big, just so you know, time wise. So if you want to do
Okay.
afternoon works better for you, then whatever.
Okay, roger that. Cool.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hope this
Cheers,
helped
guys.
in some way.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.